You sat down just to rest, but in seconds, the guilt arrived. You should be doing something. You're wasting time. Why are you just sitting? Sound familiar? After 60, we finally deserve peace. But guilt keeps knocking. Today, let's talk about why it's time to stop listening, and how 3 small habits can finally set you free. Stay with me. This might change everything. Guilt doesn't shout. It whispers. It tells you to stay busy, to keep proving your worth, to fill every moment with tasks, chores, and obligations. You've been listening to that voice for decades. It shaped who you were as a parent, a partner, a worker. But here's the thing. That voice doesn't know when to stop. Even after 60, when life should be slower and sweeter, it still clings to you. You sit down for a quiet afternoon. Guilt taps your shoulder. You decide to skip a social event for rest. Guilt calls you selfish. You take time for yourself, and guilt makes you feel lazy. Where does this come from? Decades of believing that value comes from doing, that your worth is measured by productivity. But the truth is, you were never meant to live like a machine. You are human, and humans need rest. Rest isn't weakness, it's wisdom. But for many of us, letting go of that guilt feels impossible. That's why today's story matters, because breaking this lifelong pattern starts small. And today, you'll discover exactly how. Meet Linda and Susan. Both are in their mid-60s. Both spent their lives raising families, building careers, and giving so much of themselves. But today, their mornings look very different. Susan wakes up early, even though she no longer needs to. She rushes to clean, organize, and find something productive to do. If she sits down, she feels restless. If she watches TV or reads, guilt whispers, "You should be doing something more important." She pushes through, exhausting herself, yet feeling strangely empty by evening. Now, meet Linda. She also wakes up early, but slowly. She makes tea, sits by the window, and lets herself breathe. Some mornings, she writes. Other days, she simply enjoys the silence. Linda used to be like Susan, always moving, always proving. But something shifted. She realized she didn't want to spend her later years as a prisoner of guilt. So she began practicing small habits to remind herself, rest is not wrong. Doing nothing is sometimes the kindest thing. Now, her days feel lighter. Not because life got easier, but because she stopped fighting herself. Linda's story is not unique. It's a choice many can make, even today. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. Here's something many forget. Rest is not a reward. It's a biological necessity. When we rest, our bodies repair. Our minds process memories and emotions. Our hearts find calm. Without rest, we are not stronger. We are just more drained. Science tells us this clearly. Chronic stress from overdoing weakens the immune system, disrupts sleep, and even accelerates aging. Yet for decades, many of us believed the opposite. We thought resting was laziness, that pushing through pain made us worthy. But research shows Real strength comes from knowing when to pause. Rest doesn't make you less valuable. It makes you more present. In fact, after 60, rest becomes even more important. Our bodies and minds change. Recovery takes longer, and peace becomes essential, not optional. The truth is simple. Rest is not the enemy. Guilt is. And breaking free starts with understanding this. You don't have to earn rest. You already deserve it. Understanding guilt is one thing, but changing your relationship with rest, that takes practice. So let's begin. Here are 3 small habits to help you let go and breathe again. First, the permission post-it. Each morning, choose a message that speaks to your heart. Write it down and place it where you'll see it often, on your mirror, your fridge, or even beside your bed. Messages like, I am allowed to rest today. Doing nothing is okay. I am enough, even when I pause. Whenever guilt whispers, let your eyes find that note. Let it remind you, rest is not something to earn. It's yours already. Second, the 10-minute guilt-free pause. Pick a time in your day, maybe afternoon. For 10 minutes, do absolutely nothing. No chores, no scrolling, no fixing. Just sit, look outside, or close your eyes. Notice your breath. Feel the quiet. At first, guilt will visit. That's okay. You are teaching it, and yourself, that stillness is safe. Finally, the evening gratitude journal. Before bed, write one small moment when you rested or chose peace. Even if it was just sipping tea or watching the sunset. Write it down, and as you do, tell yourself, I rested today, and that is enough. These habits are simple, yet powerful. Not because they erase guilt overnight, but because they remind you, every day, that rest is your right, not a reward. Practice them gently. Over time, they will become your quiet rebellion against guilt, and they will bring you home to yourself. Rest is not a sign of weakness. It's a quiet declaration of self-respect. For years, you were taught to hustle, to push, to keep proving. But none of that was ever meant to define your worth. Look at Linda. She didn't become lazy. She became whole. By letting herself pause, she found a version of herself that didn't need to be measured, a version that is content, peaceful, and enough, exactly as she is. You see, letting go of guilt doesn't mean doing nothing forever. It means allowing yourself to live without the constant pressure to perform, to take a walk without rushing, to sit down without apology, to say, this is enough for today, and mean it. You've spent decades giving, building, and carrying. Now, it's your turn to simply be. Because life after 60 isn't about how much you do. It's about how deeply you feel, connect, and embrace yourself. And every time you rest without guilt, you are telling your soul something powerful. I am worthy, exactly as I am. So, what if tomorrow you chose differently? What if instead of rushing, you allowed yourself to slow down? What if instead of filling every hour, you let some moments remain empty and beautiful? Remember, rest is not selfish. It's not lazy. It's not wrong. It's your right. It's your healing. It's your way home. The world won't fall apart if you pause, but something inside you might just fall back into place. You've given so much for so long. Now, it's time to give something back to yourself. So tonight, as you close your eyes, say softly to yourself, I am allowed to rest. Because you are. You always have been. And now, you finally know it. And if you're ready to begin, check the description below for a simple summary of the 3 small habits. They are there to help you take the first gentle steps today. If this story spoke to you, let us know with a like. If you felt something similar, feel free to share in the comments. And if you'd like to hear more stories like this, consider subscribing, because we can grow older, wiser together.